Hi everyone, welcome back to the Navigate Credit Union Broadcast Center. I'm Go Local News editor Kate Nagel, popping up with a bonus guest today as things happen fast and furious here in Providence and across the state. Tax stabilization agreements and the Direct Action for Rights and Equality is eyeing one that is moving through now, and there's going to be a meeting tomorrow on this as well. So Chris, thank you for coming in today.
Thanks for having me.
I appreciate it. So the Steeple Street TSA, 20 years, talk to folks about DARE's look at this as it pertains to the bigger economic picture of the city and why you have concerns about this particular TSA.
Yeah, I think the important thing to point out is that DARE is in coalition with a handful of community advocates, including elected officials. So Councilwoman Mary Kay Harris has been working with us on our concerns around this. Councilors-elect Kat Kerwin in Ward 12 and Rachel Miller in Ward 13. And most importantly, Carpenters Local 330. So some of the union labor folks are concerned about how these TSAs roll out. So DARE has been organizing around this for decades, right, to see that when the city gives away public subsidies or tax breaks to developers, that local residents, particularly people in DARE's base, low-income families and communities of color, see benefits in the form of long-term, life-sustaining jobs, and that housing that's affordable to the majority of residents in the city is actually produced. So Steeple Street is an extreme example where they're asking not only for the usual 12 to 15-year tax break agreement, but 20 years, right? And so in our letter that we're going to submit to the council and we've submitted to you and other local press, we're asking why a project would be asking for a break for 20 years, that they didn't see the value, they didn't see profitability for that long, that they'd be able to then pay into property taxes, right? Maybe it's not a great economic project if that's going to take that long to turn a profit and pay taxes.
So tell folks where things are at in the consideration process at the council level, Chris.
So there's been a first vote in the full council. A few councilors abstained, including Councilwoman Harris, people that have concerns. I believe Councilwoman Nerva LaFortune, Ward 3 as well. So councilors are concerned. They've raised concerns in the Finance Committee. Unfortunately, leadership of the council seems to be willing to push this through, and we saw the other day that there's pressure from the state level, from the Senate President, to see more development projects go through at the city level, and that the city, in their eyes, is an obstacle to progress. And so what we would say to that is that we'd like to see progress, but for the majority of our residents, right? So we have a different definition of progress, I think. So I think that they're feeling pressure from the state level to see these projects come to fruition.
Do you think in recent years, especially here at Go Local, we've written extensively on the issue, that more and more residents are becoming aware of these tax breaks and how they're structured? And do you think the public is getting more of a voice, it has more of an influence on the process?
Yeah, I think that, I don't remember the exact date, but there was an extension that was denied late last year before the council changed over in January of 2018. So I think the more that councilors hear from their constituents that they want to see the benefit, they want to see the reasoning behind these tax breaks, especially when we see crumbling schools, when we see infrastructure needed, they want to see why these wealthy folks who come in to do projects in our city aren't contributing to resolving those issues with their tax dollars. And particularly for folks like the Carpenters Union, they want to see these jobs turn into long-term, life-sustaining jobs for people of color, women that they're intentionally courting into their union, right, that they're trying to build the membership of, and also that they just keep the economics within the city, within the people who are paying rent in the city, people who are shopping in the city, not construction crews and illegitimate contractors that are coming in with OSHA violations, with wage theft problems, with misclassifying employees, right? So at the very least, we want to be definitely giving projects to responsible contractors and ideally local ones who are going to keep that money in-house.
And what do you say when you hear all the time from the developers that say the numbers just wouldn't work without this? You have folks who might say, oh, there'd be a chilling effect. We wouldn't be able to get developers, that there's sort of a vicious circle, if you will. What do you say to them when they say, well, we just can't make it work without getting some help from the state?
I just can't imagine that to be true. I mean, I think that they haven't proven that point, I think someone like the Fane Tower has seen this opposition, right? And I don't think that it's a just economic argument to say, well, we're going to use your fire services, we're going to use your infrastructure, your streets, your water, your sewer, your police, without contributing anything to them, or contributing a small amount that even the local property owner contributes more per capita to. So I don't think that it's just to come into a city and say, well, we're going to utilize a lot of these resources, right? We're building a big project, we're going to use a lot of water, we're going to drive trucks over your streets, but we're not going to contribute to the upkeep of those things. So if those projects don't pan out, if those numbers don't work, maybe they're not great projects. Maybe they need to rethink, how that project's going to play out. Maybe they need to rethink the industry they're getting into or the market that they're getting into, right? Those questions just don't get asked at the council level, and so we're just making sure that they get asked.
So you're shining the light on it in a number of ways. Again, a letter to the council, coming here to the press to let viewers and readers know about this as well. Anything else you want to share with folks while we have you on live here?
I think it's important that this is sort of a gestation of something. We want to encourage folks to continue to ask questions. We want them to reach out to their counselors and ask those questions of them. Please come to DARE. Please reach out to us. And we're going to see a change, I think, come the new council as this pressure builds and as new counselors get elected. So continue to participate, continue to ask these questions. We'll continue to try to provide that platform.
Well, Chris, I appreciate your coming in to tell us a little bit more about DARE's position again on this Steeple Street TSA 20-year tax stabilization agreement. We'll provide more information and that letter as well when you check back around with Go Local Prov. So I believe I truly am wrapping up this time here. Glad that we were able to welcome on another guest here in the Navigant Credit Union Broadcast Center. And again, we'll be back here tomorrow in downtown Providence to come right to you, the viewers. I'm Go